Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Meru edition of the Great Debaters Contest. I am Austin Nyombo.
And I am Mariam Bishar. And to welcome you to Meru County, we have a mind-blowing debate between Meru boys and Chogoria girls on whether the citizenry is responsible for the state of insecurity in Kenya. Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Peter Mwanda from Meru School. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with all the due respect, let's have 2 seconds of silence in honor and memory of our brothers and sisters who lost their lives in Garissa University attack, Westgate attack, and more recently at Kapendo. Thank you very much. Citizenry is the people living in a particular town, state, or country legally. Insecurity is the act of feeling you are not protected, according to the Oxford Dictionary. Citizenry is responsible for the insecurity in the country. Yes, I totally agree. They have shown their negligence. Citizens have shown their negligence. How? They are not ready to report cases of suspicious people we are living with. A good example, Mohammed Kunoz, who was a teacher and a principal in Garissa. He lived until he came to mastermind the Garissa University attack. Really? He had no parents, he had no relatives who could have suspected any malicious moves. To move on, Kenyans are responsible for insecurity in the country. Kenyans, time and again, they have shown lack of cooperation. A good example. Our government went ahead, borrowed a very good system, the Nyumba Kumi initiative, from the Tanzania, Rwanda, and Ethiopia, where it has worked so well. When it came to Kenya, what did our Kenyans do? Our good Kenyans, their privacy instead of national security. Once again, they portrayed their irresponsibility in security. Our good Kenyans are capitalists in Kenya, in nation. Capitalism, as John Warue put it, capitalism in Kenya is ushenzi. To put it in layman's language, Kenyans we are I, me, and myself. To an extent, you don't know who lives in the next door, who lives or who sells in the shop outside your estate. And to extreme cases, you don't know even the background, the character of the house girls who will guarantee the mandate to take care of our children. A good example, it happened recently in Kenya, where a house girl was beating, molesting a child. Why? He showed that our parents is so busy, concerned about his incomes, didn't get time to assess the character, the background of this house girl. Sum up, 2 wrongs don't make a right. The government should not leave the mandate of security to Kenyans. Thank you very much.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Naishi, natumaini, najitolea daima Kenya. Daima Kenya. Christine Kendi, Chogoria Girls High School, against the motion that states citizenry is responsible for the state of insecurity in Kenya. And I'd like to first throw a question to our first proposer. How many times have Kenyans reported that attacks, that disaster is going to strike, and nothing was done about it? Needless to mention, who didn't know that Westgate was going to happen? Who didn't know that Garissa was going to happen? But what happened? Nothing was done. The problem is not that Kenyans are not reporting. They are actually reporting. The problem here is coordination. How well are our security systems coordinated? We observe too much protocol before an order is given for police to go and rescue our innocent lives. At the end of the day, we lose too many numbers. At the end of the day, we are counting more than 100. Secondly, Mass disaster strike for Kenya to realize we do not have enough policemen in our country. Just the other day, it was a directive was given for police recruitment to start, and that only happened after 148 lives were lost in Garissa. Even the recruitment itself, there's a court order that has been issued against it, that it is actually illegal. Mass disaster strike for the government to realize that we do not have enough people to protect ourselves. Our politically unstable neighbors are also contributing to the state of insecurity in our country. The well-known Somali. As you all know, our Kenya Defense Forces are in Somali. What are they doing there? Trying to keep up security in that country. And what happens to us in Kenya? We are left an insecure country. We are left trying to fight for our own selves, yet you have a government in place. On 4th of March, we all woke up in the morning and went to vote. We voted for people that we trusted with our lives. We voted for them and we put them in power to provide the most basic of all basic necessities, and that is security. But what is happening? Instead of protecting us here, they are going to beef up security in another country. My people, is that surely right? Our country, Kenya, was declared the most peaceful country in Eastern Africa in the year 2001. And what happened to this? Kenya has become a home for many refugees. Well, we all know we have the largest camp, the largest refugee camp in Dadaab. Well, this has become a scapegoat. Everyone who wants to come into Kenya is saying, I am a refugee. Our hospital, the fact that Kenya is hospitable has become a route, a loophole for us to lose lives. When I come here and I want to strike, when I come here and I want to attack, I claim that I'm a refugee from whatever country, from Somali. Is this really right? Is this really right? And today, the bone of contention is here. Insecurity. Who is really responsible? I rest my case. Thank you.
Now hear cross-examinations, beginning with the proposers. You have 3 minutes.
O God of all creation, bless this, our land and nation. May justice be our shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace, and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. What does this mean? It means security starts with me. It starts with you. So how then? Even if the government, even if you say the cases are reported, yes, and the government has taken measures, but the thing is, you cannot take a cow to the river and expect and force it to drink. A good case in point is when my fellow member has just stated that the Nyumba Kumi initiative, very good, worked in so many countries, but what happened? It was brought here and Kenyans said what? You know what? I value my privacy more than I value your security. You know, they built 10-foot walls just to keep their neighbors out. When the thing is, this very neighbor, the person seated next to you, as beautiful, handsome, and well-dressed as they are, how sure are you that at any moment they won't turn on you? They won't be the first person. How much do you know about that person besides their name? Also, we look at this. The citizenry is responsible for the state of insecurity in the sense that the government is not paying the police force enough. We look at this. The pay of an average police officer is $200. Well, that amounts to about 18,290 shillings. Whereas the Al-Shabaab recruitment, a normal person is paid up to $1,000. Going now trading at the Kenyan shilling, a Kenyan shilling now trades a US dollar at about 91 shillings, 45 cents. That's actually 91,450 shillings. Now tell me, this policeman is paid 18,000 shillings. He risks his life every day, day in, day out, to make sure that you are safe, not knowing what comes next. And all you do is give him this 18,000 and you add 600 shillings on top as hazard pay. Whereas here he's being given 91,000 for not for doing anything, not for risking his life, for just joining the movement. Tell me, if it was you, wouldn't you have done the same? On to my next point. We look at Kenya, job security. Right now, as I speak, the unemployment rate is 70%. 70% of the youth in Kenya are unemployed. And if you look at this, Al-Shabaab in Islamic actually means youth. So what does this mean? Me here, I'm unemployed. and I have my basic needs. There's food, shelter, and clothing. Don't forget that those who have families to care for, that those who have to pay rent, that those who have to take care of their sick children, their parents, and everything. And if this person earns nothing and someone comes up with a better offer, 91,450 shillings for free for just being a member, don't you think they would take it? Thank you. I am Wangai Gakuru from Meru School.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes for your cross-examination.
Muhanji Audrey, Chogoria Girls. I'm here to oppose. The future, the More University of Eldoret. Law degree, maybe a boyfriend, maybe bashes. Then I hear, Wochi, kumeingiwa. Translation, watchman, there is an invasion. The watchman runs fast, not towards the invasion, but away from the invasion. The future goes blank. Kenyan government has deployed the Kenya Defense Forces to Somalia in order for them to ensure security. But 5 years and counting, the terrorists are in Kenya. We shouldn't have started the fight in the first place. My second point, rising Somali disillusionment. My colleague stated that there are refugees in Kenya. The Somali have run into Kenya in order for them to seek provision from the government. Seek food, shelter, and clothing. But what does the government do instead? The government neglects them. Poverty strikes them. On top of that, the government demands that only 150,000 refugees are supposed to be in the country. This person, if he or she is offered a deal of 1 million Kenya shilling, he or she has no obligation over the government in order for him not to bomb this government. The same national anthem. May we dwell in unity, peace, and liberty. Why does the government not think of community policing? The assigning of 1 or 2 police officers in a particular area in order for them to familiarize themselves with the residents to reduce insecurity. The government is lenient on the issue of recruitment. Instead of just fueling public fears, the government should promote public resilience, writes James Forrest, and I tend to concur. Thank you.
Nakuomba mteja utumie Safaricom we, tuma pesa na M-Pesa, lipa pesa sehemu yako, trust me utaipenda, huduma zao moto sana we, ukipata chwani fulani, saka sim card ya Safaricom.
Take part in the M Challenge by sending your short song, rap, or poem about Safaricom M-Pesa on WhatsApp, and you could win 1,000 shillings in Safaricom airtime.
The proposers have been asked if they talk about Kenyan security forces not being paid well, are they blaming the citizenry or the government? And the opposition have been asked if our security forces shy away from protecting us, are they then not responsible for insecurity? We leave the proposers to answer. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Kevin Mudomi from Meru School. I'm here to propose a motion that the citizens are irresponsible. First and foremost, I'd like to answer her question. Remember, when we elect people in government, that means that those people are once citizens from us. They were people whom we were living with. But when you have elected them to the government, you have escalated their social status. So those people, when they are underpaid, it is the government which is underpaying them. But that money is coming from you as a citizen. You as a citizen are the ones who are going to the streets demonstrating that the government is harassing us. The government is taking our money. Coming to my colleagues, I've asked you say something about what do you mean by saying ng'ombe na mkia? I've not understood what you have meant there. And do you mean that we should be turning our backs to the people who are in need when you are clamoring that the refugees in the country are too many. Remember, we have signed a deal with the United Nations to protect these people. We have signed a deal with these people to help them. So this government of ours, it has done everything it can. But we find the citizens, the very same citizens, are the ones who are claiming the refugees are bringing us problems. Okay, let me ask you a question about job security. We find the people who are told relatives, those are the citizens themselves. They will go to jobs, they will go early in the work. You'll find them, they'll come with their relatives, a person who has a D+, a person who has a C+. There's a person with an A, though not a relative, but they'll say, that person I cannot allow him because my relative will be a poor person, will be a pauper begging in the streets. And you find you have left somebody who has the potential to lead a country somewhere. That's job insecurity. And it's brought about by this citizen with a tall relative. Another point to you, another question to you. We have those attacks in Kapedo. We have the attacks among the Bagusi and among the Maasai. I have to ask you a question. Is that the government which is fighting those people, or is the citizens who are fighting among themselves? Get serious sometimes. Avada, she has sung a very good part of the national anthem. May we dwell in unity. Let me tell you one thing. Whether we are capitalists, neo-capitalists, or socialists, we have to accept the fact that we have to know our neighbors. You have to know who is sitting beside you. You know, something which is concerning Kenya is that we are very much egocentric. We like ourselves. But we have to accept the fact that these people who have brought this initiative, there are people who have seen it has worked in other countries. Kenyans are building walls. Why do you have to build a wall? It means that you are lacking the faith in the government. You go to American countries, you find they don't even have edges. You'll find your neighbor on Saturday morning watering his garden. You greet him. Kenyans, the person is confined. You call him, he may even insult you. That means that we are fearing the person who is outside, meaning we don't have that trust in the government. The government can help us. I can live and see my neighbor every day, greet him in the morning. So what I'm saying is, these citizens themselves, they need to come up and change, because they're the same people who are committing these atrocities. Then they're turning their problems to the government when they've seen things have gotten amok. Thank you.
Opposer number 3, you have 3 minutes.
Zulu Jepkonga is my name, Chogoria Girls High School, opposing the motion that states citizenry is responsible for the security in Kenya. The government, just to answer the question, has failed to provide resources. They have failed to provide weapons to this officer who is running away from an invasion. The government is supposed to ensure that you as a citizen is well catered for. Therefore, a very lame excuse for the killing of 42 government officials in the recent Suguta Valley dispute. They claim that they did not have weapons. These Turkana people had superior weapons. Isn't it the responsibility of the government to ensure that every law enforcer who they employ has enough weapons, has enough materials that will be able to help them protect the people? The Nyumba Kumi initiative, it is an initiative borrowed from very many countries. Tanzania, for example, effective. But in Kenya, we who mostly reside in the urban centers, where most of the population of this country is, this initiative is not effective. In the urban centers, residency is fluid. Where I'm living today is not where you'll be living tomorrow. Unlike the rural area, whereby before I move from one village to another, it will take around 4 years, 5 years. But in the urban centers, how am I supposed to know each of my neighbors who comes into this estate, who comes into this house every single day? Don't you think you'll also get tired? Irresponsibility through Usalama Watch policy. Our government does not want to accept the responsible. Therefore, they have created a policy that has decided to shift all the blame to Somali people. The clearing of Somalis from the eastern suburb of Nairobi is not helping anything. We have more than 1,000 Somalis at Kasarani Stadium. This policy began early April 2014. 2nd April 2015, Garissa University was attacked. Who did these attacks? Who conducted them? If it was not for the Somalis, the government so claims that they are doing them. Yet they've packed them in dehumanizing conditions. They treat them badly. They force them to move back into their countries. The reason they came to Kenya is because they needed security. Act 14 of our Constitution on matters of insecurity claims that the government is responsible for the security of Kenyans and not the other way around. Therefore, when there is a problem of insecurity in Kenya, when me and you do not feel protected, when me and you do not feel you can sleep in peace during the night, it is not the fault of your sister, it is not the fault of your brother, it is your government's fault. Then, what my opposer meant by alimla ng'ombe wameshindwa kumaliza mkia. The government started this war by deploying KDF, Kenya Defense Forces, to Somalia. They should have finished that war. It is 5 years already, yet we still have Kenya Defense Forces there, and there is still insecurity in Kenya. I rest my case.
Closing submissions, beginning with the proposition. You have 1 minute.
I do not believe in the fate that falls on men wherever they hurt. But I totally do believe in the fate that falls on men unless they hurt. The day citizens will stand and be sure the people they elect in the government are the right people. Actually, I don't believe that we citizens wait ourselves so much. Citizens tend to live for long, and even forever if it's possible. Yeah, then how can I contribute to my life, to the loss of my life? I tend to differ there. No, guys, it's the government that has failed totally in providing the security of the citizens. The Constitution very well states the government has all the mandates to provide the security of our citizens. Thank you very much.
Opposition, you have 1 minute.
Well, I am convinced, beyond reasonable doubt, that the citizenry of this country is not responsible for the state of insecurity in Kenya. First, are we all aware that every government that we elect, every leadership that we put in place is a complete face of the people who elect them? Not unless people realize their roles and take up their responsibilities, Kenya, sadly, shall remain to be insecure. Not unless the people we voted for realize the magnitude, realize how heavy our hopes are on them, and act upon them, we shall still remain to be insecure. But words can never depict, no words can never describe, no picture ever depict the many lives that we've lost. But I am confident in my heart that one day these conditions shall change, provided we have the right people on track, provided we have the right systems on track. For we may be broken, but we are unbowed. The pain that Kenya is in shall bleed progress. We shall rise. Thank you.
A very strong beginning, Peter. Good emotional appeal. And one of the things that you want to do as a debater is connect with your audience. And in connecting with your audience, you want to create that emotional appeal. So when you take us back and tell us, let's take a moment of silence to remember those who have died as a result of this, you've basically gotten our attention. And that was a very good beginning. I think you point to various areas where we have gone wrong, which is good. And, I actually felt that the motion favored the opponents, but at some point I thought that your team worked very well to defend the fact that it's actually citizens who are responsible for the insecurity in the country. Wangai, again, very good beginning. I like the fact that you bring about the national anthem and make us think about that very strongly. I like the comparisons that you give, in terms of the costs of, the police that are paid, how the police are paid, and how those that join, the terror group are paid. And that is evidence of research. Kevin comes in and caps it all. And I love your style, very calm, but very, your presentation is evidence of research, a well-read and a well-informed individual, and that was really, really good. So congratulations to Meru School.
All across, for the two teams, we had very powerful speakers. The two speakers who started us off started us with a unique start. Second speakers as well, and third speakers. And I think, Kevin, you're also very smart in your own way. I'd like to say this, just to point out the two mistakes that I thought shouldn't go unmentioned. One to Muhanji. In your second statement, it's a saying that you gave in Swahili. Umemla ng'ombe mzima sembuse mkia. Kindly also try and give us a phrase that will make the non-Kiswahili speakers here understand. Zulu as well. When you say the Turkana people, we know that there are some peaceful Turkana people. So those ones are just regarded as bandits. So don't just generalize and say these Turkana people.
Christine, well read. Beautiful rendition. Audrey and Zulu, again well read. This is one of the debates I think that I've been excited to listen to from the start to the end. Every time you stand to debate, I hear something new and a new style altogether. It's a beautiful debate, and I think the other debaters that are yet to take the stage, the standard is already, the bar has already been set, and you need to work harder.
The judges gave Meru School 74.7%. That's a very good job. And Chogoria Girls had 74.7 as well. So it's a tie for both teams.
So all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest are very grateful that you're with us, and we're waiting for you next time. I'm Austin Nyambok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. We'll see you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.